Hello and welcome, Alaya. Welcome to this chat. It's so nice to be finally
Thank
talking to you. It's like this.
I know I'm one way or another. I'm glad we're doing this.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Alaya, most of the actors we are talking to during this phase, the one thing that they all have to say is that for them, this period has been nice in the sense that they're relaxing, they're unwinding, they're just taking it easy and they're calming down because their lives have been so hectic. They're shooting back to back. In your case, you had a release in January, right? Jan end. And that was in
Mhm.
January. And you were raring to go. So in that sense, I don't think you really needed a break like this at this point, right?
Not at all. In fact, I was so glad it was finally starting and finally happening because it was so many years in the making. And I'm still glad it got to release, and I'm glad, people got to see it, and at least then it happened. And then now it's released on Prime, so people are seeing it again. But it really cut momentum. I was sort of ready, and then I was like, great, now stuff is going to start, and it just started and then it stopped. So in that way, was a little sad, but I'm glad it at least got to release and people saw it and appreciated it. Thank God.
What was the phase just after the film released? Because, not many people knew you, and there you were on screen, and your movie was liked, and you were out there, and the adulation. And how did that change come about?
I mean, I got very lucky. The response was very positive, and you never really know how it's going to be until it happens. And it was just a lot of training and preparation. And just when people liked it and appreciated my performance and everything, it just felt like you know, everything had been worth it so far. Whatever I had done, whatever I had put in and invested into it personally, mentally, physically, in every way, it all just felt so worth it. And I felt so motivated after it more than anything because, suddenly, you know, because prior to the movie releasing, I remember I still had a little bit of an Instagram following or whatever. And every time people would come up to me, they'd be like, "Hi, I've seen your photos on Instagram. You're so pretty. Can we have a photo?" And then after that, it turned into, "Hi, I really liked your performance in Jawaani Jaaneman, whatever, can we have a
The
photo?" And
switch.
the latter was
Switch.
so much more gratifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry?
That was a switch. People actually saw you, and that's what they reacted to you. Yeah.
Completely. And I was being known for my work, which meant the most to me because that's all I really wanted.
Right.
And it's just so much waiting until people can see it because you're dying to put this thing out, you're dying for people to see it, but you're also scared. So it all really felt worth it. And whether it was then more directors and producers and people showing interest, whether it was industry people reaching out to tell me that they really liked my performance, or all of that. It was just a sudden change in
Yeah.
everything.
I was reading somewhere where you said that you cannot really sit idle for very long. So how has the
I
lockdown
can't.
been for you? So what are you doing? Like, how are you constructively using your time?
I am doing anything I possibly can. I really do have this problem where I need to be productive. I genuinely do. And so for me,
Right.
even if it's as simple as, just going and cooking something, or, reading something, or watching these random classes online, or, working out. I've started doing yoga. I've never done yoga in my life, but apparently I can do it. So that, whether it's, learning Photoshop, going back to things I learned in film school, like studying Avid and Final Cut Pro and, editing softwares, just getting back in touch with a lot of things that I, had lost touch with, or developing new skills. And, I understand there's a pressure nowadays to stay productive, because everyone's talking about being productive and this and that. I understand that. But for me, it really, like, if I don't do something, I'll go mad. So this is my way of keeping sane. And everyone has their own way of keeping sane, and mine is just staying busy and occupied. And the other day I just I live in like a small building, so not many flats and not many whatever. So we're allowed to go downstairs to the garden area because no one's really there. And I just went down there with a football and I started playing football again after the longest time with myself. Just kicking it on the wall and taking it back and learning how to juggle again. So just anything, just anything, but I have to be doing something.
Yeah, that's. I think that's what this phase is teaching all of us. Do anything but be happy, sane, and keep yourself busy. Right. Right.
Completely.
Yeah, talking about your journey, Anaya, you trained a bit. You prepped before you came into the industry. You went to NYU, you went to NYFA, you did your direction and acting. You came back to Mumbai and you prepped a bit
Yeah.
over here. And one thing that someone would notice when they see you on screen is that you have this certain sense of confidence as an actor on
Certain
screen.
sense of
Confidence.
thank you.
Yeah, when someone sees you on screen, and also when someone has a conversation with you. So where does the confidence come from? Is there come from the training that you've gone through, all the preparation that went, that where that went through because of your journey that was ahead?
I mean, it definitely did. A lot of it came from the prep, but a lot of it also came from the fact that I've sort of grown up in a family that is very outspoken, very clear with what they say, very, you know, I've also sort of, in one way of or another, I've grown up in front of the camera, So I guess that also made me a lot more comfortable to begin with. But then post that, it was all the prep and everything, because there's a sense of security that comes when you sort of feel like you sort of at least know what you're doing.
Right.
I remember my first day on set on Jawaani Jaaneman. I was so scared because I was with such experienced people and I was the only newbie on set. And the first day when we started with one of the most challenging scenes that then Nitin sir decided he wanted to do in a 6.5 minute one shot without any cuts, without anything. So that was my first day on set. It was fully line heavy on me and it was a very important scene. And I remember I prepped that scene to death. I'd prepped it in every way, shape, or form, in different ways. I'd memorized the lines such that I would make people do lines with me while I was like doing while I was editing a photo or while I was ordering something. So I'd be super distracted, but then I would still be able to say the lines. I did everything. And I remember after my first day, Seth only said to me, "You're very, very prepared. Very good. Keep that going." So, I was like, okay, fine, great. I will stay prepared. But for me, that preparation always gave me a sense of, okay, I know what I'm doing, at least a little bit. So definitely preparation is what I have to thank for all of this.
Right, right. Well, you also said that when you came to Mumbai, you went to acting classes here too, correct? And you had enacted scenes from the most popular movies. So which were your favorite scenes, and which were the toughest scenes?
So actually my favorite, when I started class with my teacher Ritesh sir, our class style was very different. And then one day I remember asking him, I was like, "Ritesh sir, can we maybe record the scene so I can see what I'm doing?" And he was like, "Yeah, okay, sure." So he got a camera and we were recording it. And then our class style became that we would record it and watch it, and then I'd be able to correct it and go back. And I remember one day we decided we'll do a scene from Utta Punjab. Because I had seen it a while ago and I was like very impressed. I was like, okay, we're gonna try and do this. And when I'd come back to Bombay, my Hindi was a mess. My accent was a mess. Everything was a mess. It was all stuff that I was working on.
Right.
And so by the time we got to Utta Punjab, I was like, okay, I think I might be able to do this. But I told Ritesh sir, I was like, we need to do this properly. So I was like, I'll come dressed properly. We'll find a grungy background. We'll shoot it in like full pause. And we did it and it turned out really, really well. I think that was my first realization of, okay, I think I can do this. I think I can, if I could pull off a character like that with, a dialect like that, and, we shot it in a way so it gave it even more, feel and everything to it. I added background music when I edited it. So I think that was the most memorable one for me because that was like a milestone scene for me.
Right.
And then otherwise I really enjoyed doing like improvs and all in my acting class, but like really intense improvs. So they would go on for like 20 minutes and they would start somewhere and go somewhere else. And I think improvs and that one Utta Punjab scene was my favorite. But I mean, I enjoyed doing all of them. I still do, and also one more thing is it's very hard to find scripts online for Indian films. There are very few scripts you can find online. So it was all, I would watch a video of like a scene and then I would type out the scene manually. And I did that for so many scenes. So when I finished my class, I handed over all the scenes to my acting sir and I was like, give them to anyone that needs them so they don't have to sit and type things for hours like I did. But it was great. I really loved it. I miss acting class. I still do it till today. I do it,
Really?
But because of this lockdown, obviously I can't. So I'm just dying to get back to that. I get a big rush where I'm doing it. I don't know. I love it.
But Alaya, it's not like after you came back from New York, all prepared to be an actor, you had like a lot of offers lined up. You had to wait for the right project. And also, did you ever dream or visualize this is the kind of film I want to start my career with? Because the Jawaani Jaaneman was a lovely film and we all liked it. But it wasn't a typical movie that most people launch with. Generally, young actors like to launch with romantic films, like where you have a romantic lead opposite you. I guess it's a safe bet. So
yeah. I mean, I didn't have anything specific in mind per se. I was open to everything, but I was I don't know. I go with my gut, I really do. And like you said, when I came back, it wasn't like there were, 1,000 offers waiting there for me, or even one for that matter.
Right.
And I don't think I really expected that, because, you hear things about people coming and immediately getting movies. And I remember seeing my contemporaries getting movies quite quickly. And I was like, at one point, I was like, wait, is there something wrong with me? Why am I not getting stuff so fast?
Yeah.
It was a series of auditions, and then the people saying, oh yeah, you're very good, but XYZ, and so we can't. And
Right.
at the start, it's a little hard to get used to, and but then you realize that there are so many people that are doing the exact same thing and having it 100 times worse, and then you feel grateful. And I just realized that it's going to take as long as it's going to take. All I can do is use this time to make myself better and better. So when it does finally happen, at that point I was like, hopefully when it happens, I'll be ready for it. And now when I look back at it, thank God I didn't get some of the films I got, because I don't think I would have been as ready. And I'm sure if I hadn't, God forbid, gotten Jawaani Jaaneman and I had gotten some film a while later, I would have probably said the same thing again, that, good, I probably wasn't as ready. But I don't think I'll ever feel as ready, but I think everything worked out for the best. I think everything happened when it needed to happen, and I got the perfect film for me. I can't imagine having started something.
Any other debut. You can't imagine any other debut.
Not at all.
Did you ever get impatient? Did you ever get heartbroken? Like, this is like really tough. Like, I'm an industry girl, I'm prepped, and yet I'm struggling. Did that make you antsy?
I mean, it did make me antsy, not because I felt like, oh, I'm an industry girl, why am I waiting? It sort of became more about, you hear stories about, how things can be sometimes. You hear the best case scenario and you hear the worst case scenarios. You're never sure where you'll fit in, in the middle of all of it. But I remember there was one time where I was, really ready for this one audition, okay? Super ready, super charged up, and it was sort of big audition. So I remember at that time my hair was very short because it had caught on fire while I was in New York, and I lost a lot of hair length, and that's another story. But so I had gone and rented extensions. I'd called someone who could come and do my makeup at home, so I was looking perfect for it. I prepped all of this and I booked it, and I remember the night before the audition I got a call and my audition had been cancelled. And I was like, I didn't even get to do it. I remember just like, that was my breaky. That was after a series of not getting a few films, and a few already people putting you down or whatever. I remember that for me was a very bad breaking point. I remember that was when I started sobbing, and I was so upset, and I was like, why is it so hard? I worked so hard, It was like I wasn't doing anything. I was working morning to night, going from class to class to class, and I was like, why is this happening to me? But then again, at night I'll be like, I'm done, I can't do this anymore. Then I'd wake up in the morning and quietly go for my classes and say, okay, fine, let's do this again. So I think it made me more resilient. It made me want it even more. I feel like every rejection that I got, I was like, now I'll show you. Now when I get a film, they're going to regret not taking me in that film. So it became about like, I got even more motivated and energized. And I really am a believer in everything happens for a reason, happens for the best. And so far, it really has.
So tell me, Alaya, how involved has your family been in a part of your journey in, helping you find your way around, your mother, your grandfather,
I mean, I was very clear from the start that, because you hear about, of course, when I first came back to Bombay, I didn't know how anything worked. I'll be very honest. It was all me learning and figuring out, I guess this is, I was so unaware about so much. And second, I started getting aware about things, and, I was able to make my own decisions, and, I found a great team of people, I found great management, and, all of that. After that, I sort of, told my family to take a back seat. I was like, okay, from now, I'll make all my decisions. I'll make all my choices. If I need guidance, I'll come to you. But until then, just be there, but let me do this myself. And then it was just me and my management. And I feel like sometimes, of course, if I needed an opinion or something, I would definitely go and I'd ask my mother or my grandfather. But I think that's the extent to which I let them get involved in my career. It was more like, I want my successes to be my successes, and I want my losses also to be my losses. I don't want to ever have to turn around and blame someone for something and say, oh, this didn't work out for me. Why did you suggest that I do this? Or why did this? I wanted all my decisions to be mine, and I wanted to be 100% accountable for whatever it is that I did and however my career went. And they were very respectful of that. They really let me do my own thing. They my father, in fact, who's not involved in the industry at all, he would sometimes ask me like, Alex, but do you really know what you're doing? And are you sure? And, what if this backfires? And I was like, I don't know, but this is what I feel like I should do. And this is what I will do.
Yeah.
And, recently we had a conversation. He was like, you really made good choices. And, imagine if that had happened. Imagine if you had gone that way. You really did a good job. And I was like, thank God. There was no guarantee to it. So they've let me do my own thing. For the
so
most
you want
part,
to be responsible for your own choices and not blame anybody. Absolutely. You come across as someone who's a very strong mind of her own and very opinionated. We've seen that in the past, through your social media posts. But at one time you were really active and putting out opinions out there, and then over time you kind of phased that out. Was there also part of you prepping to be an actor? Because largely in our industry, actors kind of play it safe with what they say, on a public platform. And maybe you didn't want to distract people from the fact that you were actually making a debut. Was it that, or was it just you naturally phased out?
I a little bit of both, I suppose. I remember, like, now I'm careful about what I say. I talk openly or whatever, but I am careful about what I say because right now I want my work to speak louder than my words. I don't want. I'd rather headlines are about my work and my preparation and all of that as compared to some stupid thing I said somewhere because I just couldn't keep my mouth shut. And also a big part of it was realizing that you also have a certain responsibility when you're getting into this industry. And if you're going to, and I'm at an age where in the last 5 years, I've experienced so much and been through so much that my opinions have changed also so drastically. I don't necessarily believe everything I believed 5 years ago, even 2 years ago for that matter. And I'm quite open to learning things and changing my perspective on things. So my thing is, while I'm so all over the place with my opinions anyway, and I'm still trying to find out how I feel about a lot of things, I'd rather just prep and train and let my work speak for itself now. And then maybe I'll talk about things later. And also, it also fizzled out because when I came back to Bombay, I was prepping and training so much, and I was in classes non-stop, morning to night. At that time, there was really no content I could put on my social media. Even if I wanted to be active on social media, there was nothing to put. There's a limit to how many selfies you're going to take with Guruji in Katha class, and be like, I'm going to post this. So yeah, I guess it also fizzled out. And then now, actually, thanks to this lockdown, I'm being able to, get back on social media and find what my identity is on social media now. So yeah, I guess it's a combination of both.
Within your family, who are you closest to? Who would you go to first with the problem, with whatever that might be?
Within my family, who I go to first? Probably my mother, because she's always either messaging me or calling me or around me. So I guess it's the most accessible also, to be like, oh, by the way, mama, also this is what do you feel? But for professional things, it's all my team. They're on speed dial for anything professional in any way, shape, or form. Anything that has to do with work, I'll immediately be on the phone with them. My day starts with talking to them and ends with talking to them even now. So yeah, but otherwise, generally my mother probably from my family.
You come from the industry, and and you've spoken about the fact that you understand it comes with certain privileges and advantages. At the same time, you have to work probably doubly hard to prove yourself, right?
Yeah, I'm sure, because people come with a set of preconceived notions perhaps about people that come from within the industry, and rightfully so. But I feel like people are also very open to being surprised. I think most of the comments on my Instagram photos, if it's related to Jawaani Jaaneman, will always be, I saw Jawaani Jaaneman and I really didn't expect much, but you surprised me. Or, stuff like that. Those are the comments I get the most often. So I don't think people are close-minded either. I think if you deliver something that people appreciate and enjoy, they won't be afraid to say it. And so I just think good work speaks very loudly. And, no one looks at a Ranveer or an Alaya and says, oh, hey, nepotism, because they're so good at what they do. And I think that's just what I strive to do. I just try to...
Because they come from a certain family, right? That's what you mean.
Correct. Yeah. So no one is going to, because they're so good at what they do. And I just want to be good at what I do. And then hopefully, yeah, I mean, I feel the pressure to be good, but that I feel like that's more self-inflicted pressure. I always put pressure on myself, and I always, push myself a lot. And so I think the maximum pressure comes from me anyway. So I think, yeah, I enjoy pressure.
Alaya, you come from a family of very strong women. Your mother Pooja baby, your grandmother Putima baby. Do you see flashes of them in you?
I mean, people tell me they do, but I definitely think we've calmed down over the generations. I feel like we started off. My grandmother was an extremely bold, outspoken.
In her time, absolutely.
Yeah, completely. So she was, even if you put her in today's time, she's completely bold and
Ahead
outspoken.
of her time. She was
But
ahead of her time.
yeah,
Yeah.
completely. And then my mother, who's also very outspoken and bold or whatever, but tamer than my grandmother. And then there's me, who's the tamest out of the lot, but still outspoken and there. And, I definitely do see flashes of them in me. And, my mother, because, I see her so often, I think the way we talk is very, very similar. Most people will be like, oh, the big eyes, the hands, the this, the that, the loud voice.
Very
So,
much. Very
and
much.
there definitely flashes of both of them in me. And I guess we'll just keep finding out in what way.
Alaya, it was so lovely talking to you. It was such a nice chat.
You too.
We are waiting to watch you on screen again. I loved you in Jawaani Jaaneman, and really hope
Thank
life
you.
gets back to normal soon and we get to see you on screen really soon.
Thank you so much. I hope you're doing well in this lockdown, and I hope
Yes,
everything goes well.
very well. Stay safe, and I hope to see you soon in the real world.
Yes, for sure.
Yes, bye. Take care. Have fun.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.